Greetings, my friends. Welcome to the Horror Syndicate's Werewolf Wednesday show. My name is Seth, and I am addicted to werewolf movies. And this show is therapy. Uh, and you are a part of this session. The Werewolf Wednesday show is a show dedicated to talking about every single werewolf movie that has ever been made, and trust me, there are a lot. And that's going to be discussing the great, the good, the okay at best, the meh, and the absolutely terrible films. Because I love werewolf fiction. And eventually down the line, I plan on talking about some like werewolf books and comics and just werewolf lore in general, because I just love these creatures. So tonight I am talking about the 1956 film The Werewolf. Uh, I first saw this one back in, I want to say maybe it was last year, maybe it was the year before, but I saw it back to back with I Was a Teenage Werewolf from 1957. I went to seek that film out on YouTube, and I watched it, and then right after that film ended, it started playing The Werewolf, and I think uh, it was an appropriate um, double feature. I think it's an interesting double feature. Both films are different from each other in terms of story and characters, but they both have something in common with how the lead characters actually become werewolves. So, yeah, if you haven't seen The Werewolf from 1956, I think it's worth checking out. And if you do a double feature with I Was a Teenage Werewolf from 1957. I think they go together quite well. So, what is The Werewolf about? So, The Werewolf is about a man named Duncan Marsh who arrives in this town, and he has no memory of who he is or how he got there, or even if he even lives in this town. So he's wandering around, and a man approaches him who saw him at a bar and tries to rob him of his money. Duncan gets angry, uh, basically turns into a werewolf and kills him. And so then it gets into all the locals and the sheriff um, trying to find the murderer. And at first, there's a little confliction because of the bite marks on the victim, which suggests animal, but the sheriff, a guy named Jack, believes that it was the work of a man. And so they go looking for him. In the meantime, Duncan he comes out of the woods, and he attempts to seek help from a doctor and a nurse, um, trying to get an understanding of what's going on. But he eventually flees back into the woods. And meanwhile, there's other people looking for him as well. So uh, Duncan's wife, Helen, shows up to the office of two scientists because what she had previously known was that her husband was in a car accident, and they treated him. And they claim to know nothing about his whereabouts, that he just kind of got up and left when they weren't looking. And they're obviously hiding something. Uh, and as it turns out, that these two scientists were actually involved. They did take him in after his car accident, but they gave him a serum that causes him to become a werewolf, particularly when he gets angry. Um, and so those two scientists are on the search for Duncan, uh, basically to protect their experiment. Their plan is to kill him. So what I like about this film overall is that there's like this. I really like the story. So I like the idea of there's this man with no memory, doesn't remember who he is, where he's from, what his name is. He shows up in this town, and he becomes a werewolf, which triggers the locals to go searching for him. It also triggers like just people all around kind of like converging looking for this one guy. Um, I really like that. I was going to show some images here. So uh, here's the sheriff, the nurse, Helen Marsh, and a deputy on the search for him. They have pretty good intentions. Um, but uh, again, there's the scientists looking for him, which I don't think I got an image of the scientists, but uh, they're looking for him as well because they want to kill him. So I really like this idea of like there's multiple different people, multiple different parties um, trying to find one person for different reasons. Um, and I think the story is what makes this film work for me. It's clearly dated. It's clearly a film from the 50s, but I actually quite enjoy it. It's not in my, I don't know, it might be my anywhere between like my top 20, top 30 werewolf films. I have to kind of double check my list because I think it's actually really good. Werewolf design, I'm a little iffy on. So this moment here, I like this. I think, again, this is going with the traditional Wolfman look, as you would see in Werewolf of London from 1935, The Wolfman from 1941, uh, you know, the Paul Naschy films, just to name a few. So it's got that type of look to it. Now, what I like is in like this particular moment in the film, I like the menacing look to it. I think it's actually much more menacing than Lon Chaney's Wolfman from the Wolfman. Although I don't know if it's quite as menacing looking as the Paul Naschy version or the one from Curse of the Werewolf, but I like it in this moment. But then when you see in action, there's moments where it just looks really goofy like this. Um, and this is not even like the worst of it. There's moments, especially towards the end, where it just looks really not so great. It looks like he's got like this mustache. It's just kind of weird looking. But when it's like this moment here, when it has like this look of menace, I think it looks really fantastic. Um, Acting wise, I think everyone did pretty well here. Um, I'm not really familiar with any of the actors in this at all, but I think they all did a good job with the material. And I think overall, I just really enjoyed the story. And I'm going to be a little blasphemous here. Um, I know people on the internet are screaming for originality in films, but I would love to actually see a remake of this. Not like a direct remake, but like a balls to the wall, extreme, hard, violent, just a really good film. Like, because I really like this idea of this man, he doesn't know who he is, and there's all these different groups of people looking for him for different reasons. Almost kind of like a Smoking Aces type scenario. I would love to just see like this like really brutal werewolf film, because I think one of the things that when people do werewolf films today, what they don't take into account is the savagery of these creatures. And I think if if there was to be a remake of this, I would love to see a, like the werewolf be much more savage in its nature. Like I would love for it to be like, you take the basic concept of this, of a man who doesn't know who he is. He's in this strange town. All these people are looking for him for various reasons, and you just have the whole movie be him just kill like almost everyone in town. That's what I would do for a remake of this. But yeah, I think this is a fine film, and I like it for its story. And it is a little dated, of course, in terms of acting, dialogue, effects, stuff like that. But I think it's a really good film, and I think it makes for a good double feature with I Was a Teenage Werewolf from 1957, which I was supposed to cover a couple weeks ago, but because of my personal issues, I did not get a chance to do a show on that one, but I will. I'm planning on that one. So I really liked The Werewolf from 1956. I think you should check it out. I watched it on YouTube like a year or two ago, so it might still be available there. And again, watch it as a double feature with I Was a Teenage Werewolf. Um, I think it's worth your time. So yeah, those are my thoughts on that, and I shall jump to comments, which look like they're all from Sean. Oh, Skywalker's there too. Let's see here. Two negatives. I thought the family should have been more involved with the plot, and some of the dialogue wasn't great, dated, but I liked the story. It was a good movie. Absolutely agree with that. Um, how was Ray after the stream? I know all about bad internet. Yeah, I mean, I know that too. Like, for years, I was the one with the bad connection. I was the one that was always glitching. Uh, I talked to him a little bit today. I think he's doing fine. He was just very frustrated. Hello, Seth, my werewolf sensei. How are you today? And your student, Skywalker, is here to learn everything about werewolves. Excellent. Thank you. How are you doing, man? And don't forget, Seth, you promised me you'll get into the Bigfoot stuff. Yeah, eventually I will. Uh, Hi, Seth. Hi. How you doing? I did like the Hulk thing. He gets angry and transforms. Yeah, and that was the interesting part too, because like what I made sure I looked it up. So this predates the creation of the Incredible Hulk, which I know was partially inspired by Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. But yeah, I thought that was kind of neat. And I like that, and that's why I think there should be like a remake of this. I think that'd be kind of a really fun thing to play into. Um, this movie, The Werewolf, is similar to The Wolfman, American Werewolf in London, or Bad Moon. It's probably the most similar to The Wolfman. It's like one of those, like, not only in terms of like design, but also with it being like a tragic story. I think you should be called Seth King of the Werewolf YouTubers. I think so too. I'll work on changing the name. And to spoil next week, I cannot finish Wolf Hollow. I hated it. It's an acquired taste. There's things I liked about it, and then there's things that just kind of drove me nuts. It was kind of like a similar thing to, if you remember, uh, Scream of the Wolf, aka Wolf Manor. I had a similar problem with like the attempted forced humor. Didn't really work, but at least you gave it a shot. I appreciate your effort. Top 30 werewolf movies. Mine is number one is Wolfman 2025, best werewolf movie ever made. I joke, it's American Werewolf in London. Thank you for clarifying that you were joking there, because Sean, not cool, man. For as many as this I have watched, I'm still a casual fan. I mean, I get it, and I intentionally kind of like peppered in uh, the good and the bad for the topics. Um, because I've always said that the werewolf subgenre of horror is probably the least respected, and there is a reason for that, and that is because there's a lot of really awful ones. But I'm desperately in the search for a gem, so that's what I try to. I have this thing where I have to take a leap of faith. I see a werewolf movie at Walmart, I'm picking it up without even watching it. That's how I found Late Phases. So uh, I'm a Teenage Werewolf. I liked it. It was a good movie. Yeah, I like that one too. I'm gonna definitely cover that probably the beginning part of 2026 to make up for the fact that I didn't. Just down the street, getting some fish and chips for lunch. Awesome, man. It's funny you're having lunch. It's nighttime here for me. I'm almost ready for bed. How popular are fish and chips in America? I think they're fairly popular. Uh, yeah, fairly popular. Um, how can some cheap werewolf movies are on YouTube and the very good ones are not? Ginger Snaps is on YouTube. American Werewolf in Paris is, but London, all the Wolfmen are not. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I got no idea. Um, some people get away with uploading them, I guess. Some people don't. um, but yeah, I mean, there are a couple of good ones on there. Like this, I was a teenage werewolf. But I mean, honestly, I would rather just own the physical copy and watch it. I'd much rather watch things on my TV at home uh, instead of like on YouTube. I've watched some bad movies. I won't lie. The last one, Wolf Hollow, if you like, it's fine, but I just couldn't finish. It was really bad. Yeah, no, I get it. I get it. Uh, it's definitely like an acquired taste of a movie. Um, I think maybe, I mean, this is kind of like the excuse I always go with, but uh, because I've seen so many really terrible ones, like some that are bad, I just don't like. I can't hate because I've seen worse. If that makes any sense. Will you buy any werewolf movies and put them on YouTube, like Wolfman? Or no, I mean, I don't upload anything to YouTube. Uh, I don't do anything like that. Uh, things are tricky with like copyright, and I just don't want to even like have any headaches. I don't want to be the person to deal with that. So I don't know. Maybe you can find someone else who's willing to take that chance. For me, nah. I'll just I buy them. I have them in my collection, and the best I do is to have the show, and then I can recommend them. And yeah, Lee went on was apparently returning to Saw, so no more bad werewolf movies. I mean, I like Lee Winnell, and I didn't hate the Wolfman. I'm just indifferent to it. Um, but if Lee Winnell returns to Saw, I'm not gonna complain. Uh, I've been mixed. I have found the older werewolf movies the better ones, minus a gem like Late Phases. Yeah, I think there's a lot more tolerable ones from the past. I particularly like the Nashi films. I like some of the like newer-ish ones that we've talked about that I don't think you've liked. I enjoy Skinwalkers. I don't, if I remember correctly, you didn't like that one. Um, there's been a few like recent ones, but I found like more recently. There's been more crap than good. So Scream. Oh, going to Scream now. In Scream 7, how do you feel about returning to Stu's house and Sydney's house again? But we haven't seen Sydney's house since the first film. But what this is the third time we've been to Stu's house. I mean, if it takes place in Woodboro and they do that, yeah, we'll see how the scenes play out. If it doesn't, I'm not quite convinced that it's going to take place in Woodsboro, but I haven't really been keeping up with any type of news regarding Scream 7. I've been trying to like stay in the dark about it, so we'll see. Looking forward to seeing how the film plays out. Uh, yeah, looking forward to March. So there's that. And that appears to be all of the comments. Um, yeah, so I think I'll just wrap this up. Just give me a second here. Uh, Alrighty. So, yeah, The Werewolf from 1956. I like it. I like the story. I like, uh, yeah, I think the story is what works for me, and I think it works as a double feature with I Was a Teenage Werewolf. I like uh, the uniqueness of this, and I Was a Teenage Werewolf in terms of how the lead characters become werewolves themselves. Um, for the most part, I thought the characters were fine in it. The werewolf, there was moments like this that it looked really menacing and great, but then there's other moments, particularly when it's in action, where it just looks incredibly goofy. And I feel like this film would be really good. This would be a really good movie uh, to remake, in my personal opinion. So there is that. So if you are interested, check out The Werewolf from 1956. Last couple comments here before I leave. Blumhouse has Saw now. I'm mixed on that. I'm not a Blumhouse fan. No, I didn't like Skinwalkers. I'll be honest though, I can't which one. It was a lot like this where movies bleed together. Okay, I did not hear about Blumhouse having Saw. Oof. Ooh, that breaks my heart. Yes, I remember correctly. You didn't like Skinwalkers. I got a soft spot for that film. And yeah, I mean, I've talked about quite a bit of bad ones, quite a bit of ones that I think are good, but according to my standards, which I don't hold anyone else, I don't, expect you to have my standards when it comes to enjoyment of werewolf films. Maybe I'm just like so desperate for werewolf films to be great that I'll give crappy ones a pass, or maybe it's just I've seen so many terrible ones uh, that when I see ones that are just bad, just kind of mediocre, I I I can't bring myself to really hate or despise them. So yeah, sounds like a me problem. Check out a Bigfoot movie called Little Bigfoot. All right, I will. Don't know when I'll get to it. Honestly, lately, like my mood for like watching stuff has been like all over the place. So like I really got into the TV show Twin Peaks, and like I'm like kind of obsessed with that. And I still got the third season to go. Uh, but then also at the same time, like today, like when I was at work, I had this like feeling of being compelled to watch Halloween H2O again. It's not even one of my favorite Halloween sequels, but I just like I felt like okay, I kind of want to watch it again. So we'll see. I'll get to them eventually. I've seen Harry and the Hendersons. That's the one I definitely have seen. I grew up on that film. Love it. I haven't seen it in a long time though. Sasquatch, The Legend of Bigfoot, The Howlin', The Howlin'. That's a werewolf film. Disney's Bigfoot, The Unforgettable Encounter exists, and Little Bigfoot 1 and 2. Okay, thank you for the recommendations, my friend. Ages of Film says, "What's up, dude? I tapped the like button for you. Let's talk some werewolves." Excellent. Glad that you just tapped it instead of smashed it. Uh, I like to. That's what I like to hear. Less anger problems from Ages of Film. Loving the shirt, man. Thank you. Yeah, it's one of many Superman shirts that I own. The Howlin' is a 2016 horror Bigfoot film. Oh, why the fuck would they call it The Howlin'? That's dumb. They shouldn't call it that. They should know better. Sasquatch the Untold. Right on. Right on. So yeah, those are my thoughts on The Werewolf from 1956. Have you seen it? What do you think? If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's a dated film for sure, but I think it's worth a watch. Um, if you're into films like Werewolf of London, The Wolfman, um, Curse of the Werewolf, any of the Paul Naschy films, uh, Werewolf and the Yeti, my personal favorite of the Naschy films, but uh, the Werewolf versus the Vampire Woman is actually an excellent one as well. So there's that. The Wolfman 41 is top five werewolf movie for me. Yeah, same here. It comes in at number 3 on my list. And then number 4 is The Wolfman 2010 because that film is completely underrated, and I will scream to high heaven about that. Sorry, it's called The Sighting, not The Howling. Sorry, I made a mistake. Okay, awesome. I was gonna be like, why would you make a Bigfoot movie and call it The Howling? Especially when there's like this really popular werewolf film called The Howling. Yeah. So anyway, thank you for everyone who watched and commented. I don't recall what next week's topic is for Werewolf Wednesday, but you can check out my schedule that I've kind of stuck to and kind of haven't on thehorrorsyndicate.com. Yeah, and so we may be doing a show on Sunday. I'm not sure. It all depends on Ray's internet situation. Also, depending on Ray's internet situation, is Tuesday's Horror Movie Massacre, where Ray and I are going to be talking about um, the Saw films. We're going to be talking about the first 3, which I call the Jigsaw trilogy. Um, I can never decide which Wolfman movie I like more between 41 2010. Both are special for different reasons. Absolutely. Absolutely. I think at one point in my ranking, I had 2010 above 41, but then I was like, yeah, I probably shouldn't do that. But um, they're both excellent films. I completely love both films for different reasons. I think um, they're both great in their own way. So I hear you on that struggle. 41 has more nostalgia for me, but the remake is just so badass. Absolutely, man. Like the 41 film is like my favorite classic Universal monster film. The 2010 remake is just awesome movie for me from start to finish. It's got some terrible CGI here and there, but Rick Baker's makeup effects are incredible. The score from Danny Elfman is great. The the set design and costumes. There's just a lot about the Wolfman 2010 that I just absolutely love. So I definitely hear you on the struggle. Uh, like I know very clearly that regardless of what order I put them in, they're right next to each other. They will always be right next to each other on a werewolf list. And they'll always be very high on my list. So anyway, yes, I'm calling it a night. Thank you, everyone who watched. Uh, more stuff coming from the Horror Syndicate. Uh, at the very least, next week will be another episode of Werewolf Wednesday. Not quite sure what the topic is, but you can check out my topic schedule on thehorrorsyndicate.com, which I will probably do as soon as I get out of here, because I am now curious about what next week's topic is. So, anyway, beware the moon.